Welcome to the Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 meeting of the Logan City Council. Our opening ceremony this evening will be given by the Utah State University Center for Community. Please come to the podium, and when you are finished, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you so much for having us here and the opportunity to lead the opening ceremony for this evening's meeting. I'm Shelley Ortiz. I am the director for Utah State University's new Center for Community. This center supports Utah State University's commitment to its mission as a public service land-grant and R1 research university. The purpose for Center for Community is to cultivate goodwill and greater understanding both on campus and within the communities the university serves. We encourage students to develop into thoughtful, well-rounded individuals prepared to succeed in a global society. So the question is, how do we do that? Well, we offer events and learning opportunities for campus and community members to engage with a broad array of cultures, traditions, and perspectives through educational programs and meaningful exchanges. So as such, I'm here this evening on behalf of the Center for Community to warmly invite all community members to a free Juneteenth community barbecue that we are hosting this Thursday, June 19th at the Bridger Park, located by Bridger Elementary, which is at 1181 North, 400 West, in celebration of the state holiday of Juneteenth. The event will run from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and is free and open to the public. The USU Juneteenth Community Barbecue is about celebration, education, and bringing people together. It is about joy, resilience, and shared hope for Utahns and Americans. And USU is proud to present such community celebrations since 2021. This year's celebration is going to include live African drumming, step performances, storytelling circles, music, educational materials, and a free, yes I said free, barbecue meal with both meat and vegetarian options while supplies last. We're planning for 700, so we're hoping there's food for everyone. The USU Alumni Band will also celebrate Juneteenth as part of its summer concert series this Sunday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. on the USU Quad. This event is also free and open to the public with no tickets required. A portion of the concert will feature musical selections to honor the spirit of Juneteenth, directed by Dr. Lane Weaver. We are deeply appreciative of the support of USU's Black Student Union, a student-registered organization, and numerous volunteers to enable us to present this event. So I'm going to hurry and give a couple of minutes to Marcus Jenkins, president of the Black Student Union, to share more about Juneteenth on behalf of the Student Union, and then he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much, Shelley. So I'm glad to be here with my council and talk about the Juneteenth event. Just to start off, I want to introduce my council members. Some of them couldn't show up, but I just want to give them a commemoration just to show them. So we have Lexi Blackwell, we have Taylor Peterson, Hannah Sheik, Tyra McKay, and Kyla Phillips. So I'm really excited to work with this council and continue a great legacy that my sister, Tamara Jenkins, has left with Black Student Union. I want to thank her for her wisdom and guidance, and I can't wait for her to see the future of the Black Student Union. For Juneteenth, Juneteenth is a powerful symbol of resilience, culture, and ongoing struggles for justice. It commemorates the delayed freedom of enslaved people in Texas and serves as a time to reflect on Black history, achievements, educate peers, and mobilize for change. On June 19, 1865, federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of slavery more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth has been celebrated informally and lately formally since 1866. So in March 22, Utah made history by becoming one of the growing number of states to officially recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday, thanks to bipartisan efforts led by the community advocates and supported by the governor's office. We invite the people of Logan and Cache Valley to join us in this year's celebration. If you celebrated Juneteenth before or are learning about it for the first time, this event is an opportunity to come together as neighbors and as a community. We hope to see you at Bridger Park on June 19th at 5 p.m. for a few hours of celebration, education, and connection. And would you guys please rise up for the Pledge of Allegiance? Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. Is there Aggie ice cream this year at the Juneteenth?
Aggie thinks Hair Act will be there giving out ice cream, so yes.
Good question, E.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. Now we'll move to the acceptance of the minutes and the approval of the agenda for this evening.
I'll move acceptance of the minutes and approval of the agenda. We do have a request from Rich to swap 2 items on the agenda. So we want to swap items E and items F on the agenda. So we'll go item F first and then E. But with that small change to the agenda, I would move acceptance of the minutes and approval of the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and we will switch those 2 items on the public hearing agenda. Our regular meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 5:30, but our council meeting on July 1st has been canceled. So our next meeting will be July 15th, so you get to have a whole month without us. So we move now to our questions and comments for the mayor and council. And I want to take a moment before we start that just to remind everyone that this part of the agenda is put on our agenda specifically for you to share comments and questions to the mayor and the council. It's not for campaigning. It's not for random discussions on random things that we have nothing really to do with. It would be nice if those people who share with us have concerns directly related to what we're doing and/or questions about something that has happened recently. We will also limit those comments to 3 minutes. When the alarm goes off, it's time for you to step away from the microphone. So I appreciate your consideration, and the microphone is open for those individuals who would like to have questions or comments on items that are not otherwise on the agenda.
My name is Christy Fatwasi. I just have a question. I don't know how this works. So I just have been following the land sale thing that is going through in the big national bill. Is there anything
that is on the agenda later?
Is it?
Are you-
No,
you're
not
talking-
not that land sale. I'm
Yeah.
talking about federal land sale and government land sale. That
And
is,
that wouldn't be
I looked up the map of, because I wanted to see if it affected us. And if that bill goes through, almost all of Logan Canyon is available for sale without any oversight. So I was wondering, is there something that Logan City Council can do as a voice to go up to the federal level to represent us as saying, no, we don't want our canyon up for sale? And this has nothing to do with Republic or Democrat or anything. I don't want our land sold. So I'm just wondering if that is a possibility.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
I'm Gail Hansen, I'm from Logan, and I just wanted to express my appreciation to our local police force for the way they handled the packed agenda on Saturday. You guys did great. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the mayor's staff reports.
I am delighted tonight to welcome members of our police department and their families. We have some nice awards to give tonight, and I have asked Chief Simmons if he will do those awards for us. So if you'll come to the microphone. Again, it's nice to see all of you here with your families. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Most of these awards have actually been given out. We gave them out during our banquet, our annual Law Enforcement Week banquet in May. And so we're very happy that some of these officers elected to come. I told them it was an invitation, but maybe with a wink of, persuasion and make sure you're there if you would. But I'm grateful that they're here, and they deserve all the recognition. So we gave out a few awards this year. There's 3 Chiefs Commendation Awards, and it's not an award that I say, hey, I like you, I'm gonna give you an award, or I like you. These are recommended to me by their peers. One was to Officer Sabrina Jensen. We just saw her in a couple of our use of force videos. She not only is probably the hardest working officer in our department, she is amazing, but she also is currently being filmed in the 2nd season of what they call Police Chase. It's on Discovery Denmark. It's a television show. It's kind of like Cops, but they follow around Danish police officers in Europe and also in the United States and watch what they do. She represents us and our city so well. They take beautiful shots of our valley. They watch as she does her police work, and she is incredible in what she does and how she represents us. So she got a Chiefs Award. Brian Lowe, he's here right now. Brian, there you are. He got a brand new shoulder this week, so he's in a little bit of pain. We just recently switched over to the new digital P25 radio system. Very expensive, statewide. Everyone has gone to that. Brian updated every console, every handheld radio, every vehicle, and kept dispatch running throughout the entire switchover. In fact, how Brian did this was a model for the rest of the state for their switchovers. This county, because of Brian, went smoother than all the others. We very much appreciate him. We'll give him a hand of applause after this, if permitted. Another one that got a Chiefs commendation was Shay Downs. Shay Downs works at our city shop, and he's the one who works on our vehicles. Not only do they take care of our vehicles and all the things that go along with that, but they go the extra mile. They truly know customer service. And Shay Downs also, which is weird, him and his crew, when they finish servicing a vehicle, they bring it to us. I've never heard of that. Does any shop in town do that for us? I don't know if they do that, but they do that for us, and we are just so grateful for them. That new vehicle that you saw outside, they did a lot of those refurbishments. They do a fantastic job. So those were the 3 Chiefs Commendation Awards. One of the biggest awards is called the Edwin Ted Edwards Peer Award. And Robert Palmer, if you'll stand and be recognized, he received that. This is a peer award. People in the department voted for the officer that they thought best represented our mission statement, and that was that young man right there. The award is given, the award is given for exceptional leadership, positive and motivating environment, and inspires colleagues to excel. He's proactive, dependable, and an invaluable team member. And so that is an incredible award when your peers give you that. There were some firearms pin recipients. As you know, as policemen, we have to be proficient on firearms. I am not. I do the bare minimum that I need to do to pass, but I've never been good at it. 80% or better. You have to hit 80% of your targets, basically. Well, the following individuals not only hit 80%, but they hit in the 99th percentile. And one, Lieutenant Derek Dickey, who we just met in our meeting before, was perfect. A score of 595 out of 595 for the year. Sergeant Kelly Barr, Sergeant Ryan Blau, who's now retired. Lieutenant Brooks Davis, he is here. Officer Lyle Davis, Lieutenant Derek Dickey, Ryan Christiansen, Johnny D'Olimpio, Jimmy Genther, Taylor Ditzel, and Weston MacArthur all did 99th percentile with Derek Dickey, having a perfect score in shooting all last year. So we are grateful to them, and I'm quite frankly a little bit jealous. So I just don't do the practice that they do, and I'm quite glad they do. Dispatcher of the Year went to Madison Sari, also known as Madison Shin. Is Madison here? She's not here. She's incredibly dedicated. She gives her all to every task, and she has a special gift to get to know people and make everyone feel included. She's been a wonderful cultural change upstairs in our dispatch center, and she's trained a lot of new dispatchers as well. As you know, we've been down the number, but we're starting to get up there now, so we're very happy about that. Patrol Officer of the Year was Matt Pierce. He just recently retired from us, but he came back. But during this last year, while he was still with us, he left investigations, went to patrol, and like maybe some of the older officers, you could go back to patrol, take it easy, maybe be a little grumpy, have an opinion about everything. Not Matt. Matt was an immediate leader downstairs, not only in activity, but in attitude. Says here he immediately became a leader among his peers and his crew and supervisors, frequently tap into his knowledge and experience. He's led by example every step of the way and volunteered to mentor officers in the field training program. He has been excellent, and I wish we hadn't lost him. But he is working now for us part-time, and in fact had a lot to do with the investigation of the recent incident up at the school. And we'll talk more about that later. So that was Matt Pierce. Zen Waite, I don't know if Zen is here. We arrested 175 people for DUIs last year in the city of Logan, just Logan City PD. Zen Waite made 33 of those arrests. He has a nose for it. He is an amazing hunter, and he is a frequent recipient of this award. So he was our top DUI getter. Taylor Ditzel, he's back there with his family right there. There he is. Taylor Ditzel won Detective of the Year, and that's a hard one to get. He took recently a complex case involving the theft of firearms, optics, and cash, totaling nearly $25,000 from an elderly gentleman. And through a thorough and diligent investigation, he was able to arrest the suspect on felony charges of theft and exploitation of a vulnerable adult. He is excellent at everything he does. We stole him from USUPD about 5 years ago, and it has been worth every amount of razzing I get from their folks up there. He's also our taser instructor. He's an expert in pepper ball, advanced law enforcement rapid response training. He's also one of our SWAT members, so we are grateful to him. Our second Detective of the Year, Leticia, back there with her entire family. Come on, stand up. I know. They got to see you. So I don't think a week goes by that I'm not receiving some compliment from a principal, a school teacher, or even a student about the impact that she has made as a school resource officer. And we've had some great SROs, school resource officers. She is absolutely the best that we've ever had. And I have proof of that because there are around the nation about 23,000 school resource officers. She just won the award for the best one in the entire nation, and there's only one coming out. She's going back to Dallas in July with her husband, and she's going to receive that award. We're sending Sergeant Gabriel back with her to take pictures for us and to represent us there. But that's an amazing award, and she was shocked at that, but very, very well deserved. There we go. Van Amen, right there. That goofy looking guy right there. He won the CAPSA Bridge of Hope Award. Kyle Van Amen, he's now back in patrol because he got promoted to corporal, but he was working upstairs as a detective for persons crimes. And he's earned the trust of many survivors of domestic violence. This is a big-time award for CAPSA to give. They give it out to a lot of people, and it's kind of rare they give them out to police officers. But he takes the time to approach difficult conversations with empathy and care. I've seen how he interacts with the victims of domestic violence. He does start by believing and does a fantastic job of interviewing. So proud of him. He's an active member of the Sexual Assault Response Team Coalition, and he constantly checks in and has a compassionate approach with those victims. Continually checks in with them and makes sure that they're good. So we're very, very happy that he served in that role. But of course, once we promoted him, we needed him downstairs to serve on the road. So bad for detectives, but good for patrol. One of our biggest awards, the Willard R. Daly Award, was given to Corporal Solberg, and he is right there in the bright green shirt. Thank you. Drew is our go-to guy in all things tech. He's a mentor on the SWAT team. He teaches at the academy. He knows all about our software system. He knows not as much as Brian Lowe back there, but it's not far away. He's been excellent. He also he's our parking coordinator downstairs. He was the one who coordinated the refurbishment of that vehicle that we just showed you outside. He did all of that with the city shop. So because of that, his fantastic attitude, fantastic work ethic, he's been selected as our William R. Daly Award winner for this year. And finally, we gave a couple more awards out. As you know, about a year ago, we had a fatal or officer-involved shooting here in the city. to Micah Veers, Detective Micah Veers, he was awarded the Medal of Valor. Because in that incident, and many of you have seen this, we reviewed all these videos with you, he threw himself into that suspect's attempt to pull a gun. And he was reaching for his waistband. Micah did not hesitate. He jumped right in, tackled the guy, tackled him to the ground, and for that he received the Medal of Honor. Detective Landon Krotz, he's with us here. Landon, if you'll stand up. Landon got the Purple Heart because in that melee, as we're wrestling with this guy, this suspect was able to actually pull the gun out and fire it. And it hit the ground, and some of those particles struck him in the legs, and he required some medical attention. So Landon Krotz, who was there and invaluable in helping to resolve that situation, received that award. And then we gave a unit award for everyone that was there and for the actions taken that day. Detectives Micah Veers, Landon Krotz, Taylor Ditzel was there as well, Christian Johnson, Shane Hines was there, he's right there with Landon, Derek Grange, who's now retired, Andrew Whitlock, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blau, and Lieutenant Brett Randall, who is right here. Each of them received a unit citation. It's certainly not something that we want to necessarily celebrate. We certainly don't celebrate the fact that a person's life was lost, but we certainly celebrate the actions taken by these folks to make sure no one else was hurt, and so we're grateful for them. I'd like to, with council permission, give all of these good officers a round of applause for their great work this year. If that's all right.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Again, we appreciate all the good work, and we will dismiss you to do other things. You're welcome to just leave.
Or stay.
Or stay.
Is Mark
have so much
Holt
fun.
here, our next nominee? I don't think Mark Holt is here. But we do just have one board appointment for the Light and Power Advisory Board. I'd like to recommend Mark Holt. You've seen his resume. He has some great qualifications, and I'd request ratification for that appointment.
I would move ratification of Mr. Holt.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And that's the end of my report.
And Mayor Daines, I think our new librarian is here for the very first time.
Well, and he's on the agenda to
Okay.
do a fee
Yeah.
adjustment.
At the very
last
end.
thing.
At the very end.
Adjustments.
But,
Sorry.
okay.
Yes.
You know,
You've all met him before, so I wasn't worried about introductions. He is on the agenda, and we'll do
Okay.
his part when we get there.
well, I didn't want him to be lost in the crowd. So,
And also our library board chair is here, I assume in
Yes.
support, but sorry, it is at the end of the agenda.
you
So,
guys just get to sit and wait for the whole business. So we'll move now to council business, and the first item of business, however, I was not at Planning Commission, but Russ sent me the memo of what happened. The Young Automotive Sales and Service that is south of town, there was a track, there were some four-wheelers. They are going to do utility trailer sales as well. That was approved. And there is a warehouse building, 4 new warehouse buildings at 1950 North, 10th West in the industrial park zone that will be used as flex space. So there'll be 85 flex units in those 4 warehouse buildings. And that was also approved. And we'll move now to board and committee reports. And I'm going to let you go first, Mike.
Perfect. Just a couple boards and committees I was on this month. RESAB met, and they're still working through their energy efficiency program outline. Once that gets a little closer, we'll probably be bringing that to council to kind of give some updates on it, but they're still working through the details on that. Audit committee did not meet, and BPAC did not meet. They're working on planning bike week for the Bear Health Department, which is in September, but they weren't able to meet this week for that. And then just some other meetings I've been to. I went to a bunch of budget meetings with the rest of you, and then I attended the Utah League of Cities and Towns Housing Advisory Subgroup, working with other cities throughout the state on some housing solutions. So that was an online meeting I attended, but it was great. That was about my month.
Awesome. Amy?
So our library board meeting is deferred to next week because of the official celebration of Juneteenth for the city yesterday. Public art meeting was also canceled this month. Bear River Local Homeless Council met. We had Jordan Mathis come in from the Bear River Health Department to speak about the intersection between health and housing. Had good attendance at that. Next week, we're going to be I'll be meeting with Jordan and some other community members just to have a conversation on how to best deliver local human services in our community. I assisted in interviewing the new aging services director for Bragg. And then just really quickly, just a reminder that even though the warming center is closed during the warmer days, they are still having outreach hours. They meet Sundays. They help provide laundry services from 8 to 10 on Sundays. They're at Bragg on Mondays from 8 to 10. They're at the Logan Library on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 2:30, and at Merlin Olson's Park South Pavilion on Thursdays from 4 to 6. So continuing to provide some case management services. If you have any questions about that, you can give them a call at 339-0196. That's all I got.
Great, thank you, Amy. Ernesto?
Yeah, so we got to attend the Cash Arts Board. They received a big donation. If I remember right, it was from the Mary Eccles Kane Foundation. They also reported the completion of the seats and the terrazzo projects, capital projects that they had going on. Everybody's excited about the new seats that Eccles Theater will have. I don't know if you mentioned this at from RESAB, but we talked about the potential commercial conservation project, and it looks like we're going to open up for a bid for that consulting. Is that?
I believe so soon. I talked to you about this briefly, but you remember what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what the schedule is on that at the moment, but yes, it is working through that process.
Outside of the council, well, actually, still within council, got to attend the Attainable Housing project that the city is collaborating, the breaking of the ground. The city is collaborating with Visionary Homes, which was very exciting to be there and get that project going.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited. And then outside of council, I got to attend the World Refugee Day Festival last Saturday, or at least a good part of it. It was great to see lots of people there celebrating the diversity of our community and the great things that they bring. I also got to attend a luncheon with Senator Curtis, and it was interesting to hear some of his thoughts.
Okay.
Things that he referred, I'll leave it at that. Is that it?
His baptism by fire, you mean?
Yes. That's it.
Okay.
I forgot one thing.
Okay.
Parks and Rec is meeting this coming Thursday, but just a reminder, if you have not yet completed the survey online about countywide Parks and Rec services, please make sure that you do that. It's up on our webpage, correct? The city's webpage. So encourage everybody if you've not. There was an earlier survey that was done by some of the South Valley communities. So if you completed that one, please also complete this one.
So that's the first phase in discussing.
The first phase in discussing, yeah. It's
Okay.
asking about what kind of services. The second phase will look at financing. So
Okay.
there's been some question about that we're asking about things, but not how it would be paid for. This is just to mostly focus on what people would utilize.
Well, you don't know how much it's going to cost till you know what people want.
Exactly.
So you can't talk about how you're going to pay for it till you know what the scope is. So I understand that. Mike and Ernesto, I will turn the time over to both of you about the new member of the Renewable Energy Board. I assume.
Do you want to go, Ernesto? Or?
You go.
The Renewable Energy and Sustainability Advisory Board has been looking to add a few new members. we've had a gentleman join the board and has been approved by the board and recommended to the council. His name is Herschel. Am I saying that right? And yeah, he's here tonight, and the board's happy to have him, and so he just needs ratification from us. And if there's not any other questions, I'll move that we approve Herschel to the Renewable Energy and Sustainability Advisory Board.
I would happily second that motion.
I think he brings a lot of new expertise that'll be great for the board, and I know they're excited to have him. So we appreciate you doing that, Herschel.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now,
Okay.
encourage people to look at his CV, which is
Yeah.
online. He's got great experience with solar and a lot of other things. I was excited to see that.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks, Herschel.
And
It's
we'll-
official, Herschel.
We're happy to have you. And it works a little differently because renewable energy is our board, not a citywide. It's not designated like the mayor usually has appointments for other boards, but the renewable energy was started by the council, so that's why we were different than light and power. Anyway, okay, after that weird little interlude, we'll move now to our action items. Our first action item this evening is a public hearing on budget adjustments. I will turn the time over to Rich.
This is the final budget adjustment for the fiscal year 25 budget, consisting of some grants and a few contributions. Request to appropriate $6,875 for fire, airport training reimbursements. This part goes to the fire department. Request to appropriate $5,146 for the same trainings, but to the EMS fund, since we have firefighters in both areas. Request to appropriate $10,700 of donations from Cache Valley Electric toward concerts at the plaza, at the La Plaza. Request to appropriate $2,500 that was donated to the police department. Request to put that toward the annual banquet, which happened this year. We've done this several years in the past and expect to do it in the future. Request to appropriate $2,508 from a state grant for additional fire department training. And lastly, request to appropriate $3,030 for state grant for EMS training.
Anybody have any questions? This is a public hearing. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak to this, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and take no more than 3 minutes. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council.
I'll move we approve Resolution 25-24.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our second public hearing this evening is from Ambry Darley. It is consideration of a proposed resolution approving the member contributions to the Utah retirement systems for 25-26.
Yep, this is one that we bring to the council every new budget year, and it's in regards to the contributions that the city does make on behalf of employees to the Utah retirement systems. Did you guys have any questions with what information I gave during the workshop on this subject?
I don't, but I don't know about anybody else.
I do not.
Okay. You got off easy on that one.
I know, I got one more too after.
I know, I said that one. True. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public who wish to speak to this, would you step forward and state your name, where you live, and take 3 minutes at max.
Christy Fatwaisi, this won't take that long. I was just curious about the tiers. Is tier 1 the lowest tier for the employments, or is it the highest tier?
Ambry, can you answer that
Yep.
question real quickly?
So tier 1 means is that they were hired full-time benefited before July of 2011, and then the Utah retirement systems reclassified, they changed their retirement. So then if you were hired full-time benefited after July 2011, you became a tier 2 member. And there are different contribution rates that go into a tier 1 compared to a tier 2.
Okay, so I was just wondering, so like tier 1 is 100% covered, and then tier 2 is not?
Yeah, tier 2, they created it to where the employee might have to help pick up the retirement contributions.
So it's more of when they were hired, not how long they've been an employee?
Correct, yep, it's when they were certified in the system.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
Are there any other questions? We'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
I would move acceptance of Resolution 25-22.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Not fast enough.
Yep.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next public hearing is also from Ambry. And if you would.
Yep, so with this one, this is adopting the salary schedule for our elected and also our executive municipal officers. There was that rate schedule that you guys saw, the pay ranges of what we are proposing for this next budget year. But also during the workshop, I think it was Mike that asked what other entities were paying their council members, just to give you guys a comparison. How does this projector? Oh.
Jeremy?
What did you need him to do? Oh,
Turn on the one behind us.
oh, the big
Yeah,
one.
we can.
We can.
Oh, bonus.
Thank you.
So this is just to give you a comparison of what other entities have. So like Cache County, for example, they pay their council members $24,000. Their chair does get $30,000, and no additional benefits. Ogden, their their council members get $24,106.68, but their chair and vice chair do get more, and they are also offered medical benefits too. And then if you just go down there, I mean, Bountiful is $9,000. But again, they're offering them additional compensation, which is benefits. And we have Murray. Draper was one. That was information that I did get, but I wanted to confirm with them, and they haven't responded just yet on that one.
Thank you for getting that, Amber.
Yep, thank you. Does anybody have any further questions of Ambry?
I have one brief one.
Okay.
There was one, was it you that brought it up last time, that there was a number that didn't line up?
Oh,
And now I can't find
Get
it.
that fixed.
it's, yep.
Was it fixed? Is that why I can't find
If
it?
you look at E90, yep, I fixed that to
E90,
be,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that one got fixed. I had it in my notes, but then I couldn't find it earlier, and I was looking again. Perfect, it's fixed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Amber. I don't have anything else.
This is a public hearing. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak to this, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and take no more than 3 minutes. Seeing no one, bring it back to the council.
I will move approval of ordinance 25-09.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our fourth public hearing this evening is Logan City budget transfers for fiscal year 2026. Rich?
Amber's going to try to bring this up. It's on our website.
Oh,
Each year, this is a statutory.
It was also in our elected
It's
bill.
in the packet.
It was in our bill.
Oh, that's true. It's in the packet as well. Hopefully she'll bring it up for anybody who wants to do it. We're required to hold a hearing on transfers from enterprise funds. As many of you know, if not all of you, well, I think all of you, because we've been through this several times. We transfer a certain amount from enterprise funds to the general fund as an operating subsidy to the general fund.
Can you give a quick explanation of an enterprise fund to
I
people?
emailed it to you.
An enterprise
That's
fund
easier.
is like our electric fund primarily, our environmental health, which picks up our garbage, water and sewer, and I believe that's it. And transfers are tightly controlled by the council. In resolution 15-40, so this was adopted by council in 2015. We transfer 7% from water, 5.5% from sewer treatment, 8% from electrical and environmental. And those transfers help to keep property taxes low in the general fund.
And they also help to reimburse costs that are collectively shared
They do.
by the city and those enterprise funds,
They absolutely
like legal and things like that.
They do. You know, in addition to transfers, we also have administrative fees that we charge the different funds of the city. Administrative fees, so transfers are really a allocation of revenue. Administrative fees are an allocation of cost. In the general fund, we have utility billing, which is centrally located. we have shops and garage, we have legal HR, and all those types of things. And each of those funds, the electric fund, the water fund, so on and so forth, they have to pay their allocated percentage. In other words, the general fund doesn't pay for all the overhead costs for the whole city. Each fund pays for its allocated share. So both of these help fund our city. If we did not do transfers, and the transfers amount is substantial, it's about $7 million, the majority of it coming, you can see in that table, coming from our electric fund. If we did not do transfers in order to maintain the same level of service, we would have to increase our property tax rate significantly. So the general fund brings in around $2.5 million of property tax, roughly speaking. This is $7 million of transfers, so we have to raise our property tax rate
A lot.
a lot.
3 times.
3 times, 4
Now, the
times.
problem with that is everybody pays for utilities, but not everybody pays property taxes. Churches, federal buildings, county buildings, all of the non-taxable property, which we estimate is somewhere in the range of 50 to 60% of our property in Logan, does not pay property tax. But they do pay for their utilities. Therefore, this is a way that it becomes a payment in lieu of tax and helps fund our city. What we've estimated is the average resident would have to pay for every dollar we decrease transfers, $2.40 to maintain the same level of service. Now, certainly we could try to make cuts, but those cuts would be extremely painful. We'd have to make cuts, basically our entire police department, our entire fire department, or everybody but those. That's the level of cut we would have to make. So it's really not feasible to make a cut of that size. Although, if I were starting a new city today, the city of Rich, I probably would not incorporate transfers into that as a funding mechanism. In the city of Logan, for the reasons we've already specified, particularly the number of taxable versus non-taxable that we have, as well as the fact that our enterprise funds do serve others outside our community. For those reasons, I do think it is a good way to fund the operations of the general fund, and it does help keep property taxes low for the amount of services we provide to our citizens. Again, this is a statutorily required public hearing. We have sent out this notice that you see above to every man, woman, and child in the city. And following this hearing, assuming council does approve it, we send out the after notice, which is the same notice saying we have adopted it. So it is something that is heavily monitored by the state, and is something that is controlled by the council as well.
So, just a point of clarification, we have no resolution number, or it's just, we just do the public hearing and we vote?
So we just hold a public hearing, and then as part of the budget, which you'll adopt
Okay.
later,
That's
you
when
would
we have-
say whether you wanted to proceed with the current plan or whether we wanted to change that in some manner.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I think you said the electric and environmental health gave 8%.
Yes.
On here it's saying 7.4 and 6.2. Is that a difference in calculations? Is that can you clarify for me?
So when we passed our resolution back in 2015, it's 8% of budgeted revenue. The state doesn't read our resolutions, and they passed a law that said we had to disclose it as a percentage of expenditures. And so that's the difference, expenditures versus budgeted revenue. So if we happen to fund a capital project from reserves, that would decrease the percentage of expenditures. It wouldn't decrease the percentage of revenue, but the state didn't allow me to help craft their language. Therefore, this is just something.
That's their loss.
Now, there is one thing that's
Thank you for the
unique
clarification.
this year. We are hoping to be able to build a public works building. As part of that building, it's anticipated that the electric department would buy the public works building, and that the Parks and Rec department would buy the electric building. Now, this is a future event that council would opine on, we hope, this coming fiscal year. However, in order to make that transaction happen, if it indeed does happen, I had to notice that as part of this transfers notice. So below, you can scroll down one little bit. There's some language talking about that transfer. It's an accounting transfer only. Most people would think it's a purchase and a sale between
Willing buyer, willing seller.
transfer between accounts. And the figure is to be determined in the future. However, for our estimating purposes, it's approximately 10 million is the delta between the Public Works building, which is larger, and the electric building, which is a little bit smaller.
Thank you, Rich.
Any other questions?
Just to clarify, in case I missed it, does the property owner for this building that we're talking about actually change, or is it the same? And I only ask it because we consider the electric fund an enterprise fund.
Yes. So we account for the electric fund very separately and distinctly from all funds of the city. At the end of the day, this is the city of Logan moving the property from one pocket to another. But because we are doing that and because we account for them very separately, we do have to record it as a sale and a purchase between those funds. With the difference between them, so that,
Yeah, it's going from your wife's account to your account, or vice versa.
The other way.
From the checking to savings.
So it's still yours, but it's not really.
Okay, this is a public hearing. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak to this budget transfer, please come to the podium, state your name, and take 3 minutes.
I'm just going to camp out here. My name is Christy Fatwezi. So I have a question about the golf course. That's almost $2 million, and it looks like there's no revenue, just expenditures on it. Is that correct?
This is just related to the transfers that happen. So the revenues for the golf course would be in the budget. If you wanted to look at the city budget, you would see where the revenue would be coming in.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, if there's revenue, why are not part of that?
They're not transferred to the
You
general
don't
fund.
transfer it
This
to
is
the
only
general
what's being
fund.
transferred from these departments to the general fund for like police,
But
fire,
if
public works.
So if the golf course makes revenue, I'm assuming that all the transfer is from revenue or overage. So if the golf course makes revenue or overage, why is it not part of
Because we
the
don't transfer a percentage of those expenditures for the golf course into the general fund.
Why?
And the golf course doesn't
'Cause the
really
golf
make money.
Up until this past year, the golf course really was not capable of transferring any. In fact, we had to transfer to the golf course. It was subsidized.
So-
At some point in the future, if it gets really, really healthy and golf is super popular, it could be possible.
Okay. I'm
It
just,
doesn't really make the money to transfer out of.
all right.
Like the golf course is not that.
being-
So I'm kind
reinvested
of like,
in
that's almost $2 million is just being spent
But there
for
is,
no,
no, there is revenue from the golf course. It's just not in this document. You could look at our budget and you'll see the revenue that the golf course accrues. It's not part of this though. Because this is
Because-
transfers based on expenditures.
Yeah, the
And
transfer-
we're not transferring anything based on expenditures from the golf course. So it won't be
Okay.
on here.
So really, the golf course makes about 1.8 million per year and spends all of their money on the greens, the fairways.
On the golf course.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's not leftover money to transfer to public, like to the general fund.
Someday, you never know.
Raise green peas
After
again.
they have a new irrigation system.
Anyone else?
We're getting close.
Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council for, we don't have to make a decision.
Nope.
Okay, we'll move now to our public hearing that was F is now E. And it is Resolution 25-27 and the consideration of a proposed resolution tentatively approving the certified property tax rate. Rich.
Where all my papers are. So, the current budget includes an anticipated property tax rate increase of approximately, well, it's, as calculated by the state of Utah, it's 2.9%. totaling between both the general fund and the library fund, $169,779. Approximately $88,000 going to the general fund and 81-ish going to the library. That is the property tax increase. In the state of Utah, although this does not work for individual homeowners, the individual homeowners' property taxes will fluctuate based on other factors. But the city of Logan gets exactly the same amount in total that it got the previous year from those taxpayers that existed, unless we go through the process of raising the property tax rate. So what we are asking council to do in this budget is to raise the property tax rate by 2.9%, which raises $88,000 additional dollars for the general fund and $81,000 for the library that will be used for operations. Again, if we did not raise the property tax rate by 2.9%, we would get the exact same amount we got from those taxpayers. As you all know, the money that we received last year does not buy the same number of goods and services that it bought last year. It's just a fact of life. And we feel like it's responsible to raise the property tax rate incrementally. And 2.9%, I know it's not nothing, but it is a small amount. We believe that raising it a small amount each year is far better than trying to raise it 20% in 1 year because we've gotten behind and we can no longer provide the services we are providing. Now, in full disclosure, the property tax amount does go up when new businesses move into Logan and pay additional dollars to the city of Logan, and that's great. But an additional customer also requires additional service, additional public safety, additional public works, additional, we hope, parks and recreation. So those additional customers, while they bring in additional revenue, it's not more revenue to provide more service, it's more revenue and more customers to service. So if council proceeds and we hold this public hearing and the public agrees that we should do this, and council approves this tentative property tax hearing, then we are required to go through what is called the truth in taxation process. We have already scheduled that hearing because it has to be scheduled months in advance. I think I even scheduled it in March or February. And it is anticipated, if council approves this as is, that we will hold that hearing on August 7th at 6 p.m. here in these council chambers. So even if you approve it tonight, you're tentatively approving the property tax rate. And then you would tentatively approve the budget pending that truth and taxation hearing on August 7th. Now, we'll listen to the public tonight, but we'll also listen to them more specifically after we've, again, noticed every man, woman, and child of what we're doing, that there'll be a hearing that they can attend and express their feelings about it.
Thank you, Rich. Anybody have any other questions before we open the public hearing?
I have an odd question. On the notice, you break down the price increase, the tax increase for like a $518,000 residence in Logan, which would be an increase of $7.69 per year. Why $518,000?
So that is the average residence in Logan as calculated by Cache County. 518,000. It's amazing that that is the average.
Is that the average then? Okay, because when I looked at median, it's like $100,000 less than that. So I was curious why that was the.
And
that's a reason.
It's as calculated by Cache County, so I can't.
Who knows anything?
Yeah. I can't speak for it.
It's what you have to use.
Yeah, no, I was just curious where that number came from because when I looked at numbers, I'd seen different.
And so council is aware of this notice. This will go in the paper. This will also be noticed on multiple different places. I also have zero control over what goes into this. It is completely generated by the state.
That $518,000
After we
number.
plug in our numbers. I mean, the one thing we did change is the city of Logan rather than the Logan City because we thought that sounded dumb.
Okay.
That's the only thing we can change.
Perfect. That's the only question I had. I was just curious where that calculation had come from.
This is, again, a public hearing. If you wish to speak to this particular issue, please come forward, state your name, and take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council for a decision.
Nobody cares if you raise taxes.
I guess not.
I guess not. So, I will, this is F, right? I will move approval of resolution 25-27.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move now to item E, which turned into F. Rich?
So this is the tentative revenue and expenditure budget for the entire city of Logan. It's $218,796,527. That's a tremendous amount of money. That covers all 20 funds of the city. It is tentative because of the tentative property tax rate. And so the request is to have council approve this tentative budget of $218,796,527. And then, once we go through the truth and taxation hearing on August 7th, we would approve this as a final budget. Now, from the mayor's proposed budget, the minor changes that have taken place are, I updated the CDBG numbers for the numbers that Amber and Mike presented. I also updated the property tax truth and taxation numbers for what the county had given me on June 8th. Prior to that, I estimate, and the estimates were very, very, very close.
That's because you're very, very good.
We've also talked about other things we can do to address council's concerns on, what's it called, public relations.
Communication.
The hope is to be able to work that into the existing budget over time and hopefully do some good work along those lines. And I think there's
I'm working on a report to you in some ideas.
Perfect. Any other questions? Hearing none, this is a public hearing. If you have questions or concerns about this, please come to the podium, state your name, and take 3 minutes.
Sorry, I'm learning all this. Christine Patrici. I have a question. On the resolution, it says the budget document on file in the office of the City of Logan Director of Finance contains the details of revenues and expenditures and is considered part of the plan. How do you get access to that?
It's at the library too, isn't it?
So what we have posted is the mayor's proposed budget, which is very, very close to this document. This document will be published after the adoption. The only difference between this document and the mayor's proposed is, as I said before, CDBG is slightly different because it was estimate versus what the federal government actually awarded us.
So is there a link somewhere? Because if you click on the resolution, it just goes to this little document that says that it's on file at the office, but doesn't have a link or anything where you can
Well,
go
we
look
haven't
at it.
passed it yet.
Huh?
We haven't passed it yet, so it's not posted yet.
But the budget itself was posted 6 weeks ago?
Yeah. So if you go to our website and you click on City Council, you can click on 2025 Council Agendas and Packets. You can go to May 13th, isn't it? Is that where it was?
For the budget.
To the budget workshop. And there should be...
I can send you a link,
Okay.
or you can go to
Yeah.
the city's website, go to the finance department, and it's listed there.
Okay. And, all right. Just for somebody coming in late, it's like there's,
No,
I
you're okay.
have no idea to go to a May meeting to find the budget, but they're approving the budget, so if I want
Yeah,
to.
but we had 4 meetings about the budget in May.
Okay.
It's like,
And it should be in all this. You can email any of us and I will send you a
If we want
copy.
to be like somebody, like I said, I'm brand new, stepping into this because I've been frustrated and I don't know, and this is part of it, because I don't know where to go. It's kind of, the city site link is like.
It's a big website.
Crazy trying to find anything, so.
Send any of us an email and we will send you a
And
copy.
like if there's, something like this, it's like, oh,
revenue or reference previous meetings, boom, here's the link. Then you can go and you know what you're talking about. City council meeting and you don't look like an idiot.
Totally understandable feeling,
The
yeah.
problem is, the reason we word it that way is we're adopting it right now. It only exists right here. That's the only place it exists, is in the finance director's office. So that's why we word it.
That makes sense. I just like, it's like we're adopting it, and if you have questions on it, I'm like,
I know.
but I don't know what questions to ask, because I don't know where it's at.
I'll put a link to the mayor's proposal next time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing no one, bring it back to the council.
I would move approval of Resolution 25-26.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a tentative budget.
Say, was that a tentative aye then, or is that a?
Tentative.
I can always change my mind. And
It was a positive aye for a tentative budget.
Council is aware, but we do have to treat, because we won't adopt this finally until August 7th, we have to treat everything except the property tax amount as final, because we have to proceed.
Yep.
Sure.
So, thank you for your cooperation, and we will proceed.
Proceed.
It's a conservative budget, so
There.
Yes, it is.
that's very conservative.
Which is important.
It's nothing crazy.
Okay, we will move now to item G, which is also a public hearing, which is the consideration of a proposed trade of real property owned by the city of Logan. And I'm going to let Craig talk about it.
Okay, this is a public hearing required by state code and also city code. It is a significant parcel of property that the city is conveying, and no action item by the council tonight. This is just an opportunity for the public to give input on this proposed trade. The property that the city is conveying is located at 250 South, 1st West. It's that parking lot property near the renewal apartments. It's 0.35 acres. The property is being conveyed to Old Man Holdings, who has property
Bless you.
adjacent to this
Excuse me,
property.
thank you.
The property that the city is receiving in return is a portion of that. It's located at 1250 North, 2nd East. It's the old movie theater property there. The purpose is to be able to realign 1250 North, make that street square, and be able to put a traffic light there. So that's the intent and the reason for that, the acquisition of that property.
I thought we
So that's
already owned that property, that we had an easement for that light, and that was all planned and was
We
part,
still needed to purchase a portion of that property.
And is
and
that the parking lot on the northwest corner there?
Yeah.
the whole parking lot?
No. Not the whole parking lot, it's a sliver of it.
So that sliver is worth a whole parking lot?
No, it's just a piece of it, the parking lot. It's
Which parking lot? The one on?
the one across.
There's too many parking lots.
One across
So
from the
both
recreation.
properties are kind of like parking lot property, right?
Yeah.
I wish we had it.
State, yes,
Yeah.
So, but the parking lot by renewal on First West
Is larger.
is, yeah, it's,
It's a third of an acre.
yeah.
0.35, and the one we're seeing is 0.23. So there was, these are being exchanged at market rate. The Old Man LLC will be paying the difference to the city.
So it's a fair trade. They're paying a little bit, but they get
So why
a
didn't
little
we
more
just
property.
buy it,
By,
the property?
well, it made sense because Old Man owned the property, the theater property parking lot that we needed for the realignment. And then this property that we're conveying is also adjacent to Old
Their
Man
property.
LLC. So they are able to do a project that's right next to the property that they currently own. So that's why that was,
So they own renewal?
no, they don't own renewal, but there's property right there in that parking lot that is adjacent to this property we're exposed to.
They own a lovely storage building on that property, right, Tony?
Man, things.
But, so, I guess I don't understand why we just didn't buy the property we needed for the light.
Well, the seller proposed it, and again, you know, we were just trying to facilitate making it work. I mean, that property, it was essentially, we didn't need it anymore after after we're out of the rec center. The school district was not interested in the property. So we were approached by Mr. Johnson, and it just seemed to make sense.
Well, see, my concern is that particular parking lot serves as an exit point for all the parking in that block. So you're essentially cutting off the parking for the restaurant so that they only enter and exit from Main Street.
I thought that there were 2 exits in that.
That right away.
There's 2 exits, and there's 2 Logan parcels in that. Are we giving both of them, or just one?
This was a confusion. There was 2 parcels with the same parcel ID number, that the county made that change, so there's 2 parcel ID numbers now. But yes, it's both of those parcels.
Both of those properties, but the center strip between them, yeah, okay, would not be.
Huh?
We're giving both these pieces.
Without the center strip?
Well, the center strip's owned by someone else.
Right.
It's kind of a weird configuration.
So we can't give it away. I mean, we could try, but I don't know how that would work.
But we've taken away all of the secondary entrance and exit for that parking
Right,
lot.
these 2 here. Jeannie, I thought you hated parking lots.
I do hate parking lots, but what I'm concerned about is the fact that we've made it so that that parking lot has to enter and exit off Main Street, left and right turns.
Well, you can, again, that's,
It's also what?
It's also third south. I think there's an exit at third south, isn't there?
No.
Nope, not on that.
Not anymore. There's
That's
not.
the only exit would be, I mean, it
are
has
you-
been that they've been able to kind of cruise through and go on
Are they
first
planning on
class.
building something in that spot of the parking lot, or just owning the parking lot? Or does that matter to
What
us?
your plans are.
Because I do think there is some valid concern of pushing all the traffic onto Main Street, but
Because I really believe that, you know, I mean, I'm not a fan of parking lots
Yeah.
particularly, but I am a fan of,
you would have to come out right and just go around the block.
yeah, I mean,
Not that close to
you've
the light.
severely
No, but
restricted the parking for the rest of that. I mean, the entrance and exit opportunity for them by doing that. Anyway, that's my comment.
unfortunately, you don't really have a vote on this. I'm just kidding. I think there are concerns, but this is in your
This is an
really.
executive function.
I say this is really in your realm, so.
Yeah, because we have, one of the things that our form of government allows is for the mayor to sell property, should he or she so choose. Hopefully, they let us know.
that's
And this
interesting, and
is-
then you get to have, the public also gets
Yeah.
to comment.
But anyway, this is a public hearing. I have been part of the public.
We are part of the public.
Part of the public is right.
If you have any comments about this particular trade of real property, please come to the podium, state your name, and take 3 minutes.
Christine Tracy. This is the one I actually came for, believe it or not. So I had emailed Craig about this because I didn't know the process of this. And the questions I had, because again, I don't know how this works, is like who handles the money as far as if they're paying for, if they're getting more property than we are. And I didn't like, there's not a map, so we can't look and see what is getting sold and what's, or not sold, well, exchanged, and why there's not a map.
There was a map?
There wasn't one in the thing, no.
No, I just pull it up.
And then I'm also wondering if Old Man Holdings is getting this property, and even if they're paying a little bit of difference in what the property is worth, are they going to be making revenue off of this? Are they building something later that they're going to be making money off of, that the city's not, and that makes it worth even more money than what,
They're also-
than just a parking lot?
They're also losing property that they can't make, trading this for property they can't use
If
for
they're trading that
revenue.
property, they're not making anything off of it anyway, otherwise they wouldn't be giving it to you. So
Well,
they're looking to
we're
get property that's
trading it.
right in the middle of downtown, again, that cuts off access to other property. And
I mean, from a city
and then,
perspective, if they make money, then we
and then
make money.
also, whatever they're planning on doing with that property, I'm wondering if they're planning on making revenue off of that, which I'm
Well,
assuming that they are.
but see, that's not our concern at this point, because what we're looking at is being able to build an intersection in a place where we need to build the intersection. And so if we have someone who's willing to trade property with us and the mayor approves of that, what happens to the property after that is not part of the equation. It's whether it's solving our problem and solving another problem, a reciprocating problem.
Personally, that's very short-sighted, I think, but I'm also wondering, do we absolutely have to have another stoplight on Second West for 3 hours of the day?
Second East.
Second East, I mean, sorry, I know I live on Second East, sorry. But that's like one of the few smoother moving traffic roads. If we put another stoplight there, what's that going to do?
Actually, the police tells it is a very hazardous intersection. It was part of the development agreement that we entered into with Woodsonia when they redeveloped the whole mall property, that we would make that intersection safer as part of that development.
So I'm kind of thinking like the jog on it is like the neighborhood. So is it going to be moving, the intersection will be moving north so it lines up with the neighborhood street, or is it they're going to be moving neighborhood houses and
No, the intersection's going to be moving kind of north.
so it'll like go around that building and then line up
Well,
with the
just through
street?
the parking lot, just
Through the parking lot.
it's a
Okay.
small alignment. And I will also
Well,
say
I'm
that I
saying,
know
I mean, like the street right now, because it goes straight, so it's like going to be like moving this way so it lines up. Is that 1 minute? Or
Yeah, they'll move north a little bit. I will also say, I know the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee is excited for a light there because there's a lot of people who would like to be able to access the movie theater and whatnot in that area. And they talk about it regularly, that pedestrian crossings on 200 East are very difficult.
Or just turning left.
Well, but like there's, even beyond cars, there's a lot of reasons to have a safe crossing there.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll shut up.
all right.
Bang the gavel at me.
I think it's an important comment. The pedestrians.
Josh Molitor from Logan. Actually, what you were saying, Jeannie, I think that we should actually just try and purchase that outright instead of doing a trade. It makes more sense. And because that block there, if we push more traffic onto Main Street, which is already ridiculous, we're just upping the chances of more car accidents. I know the Beehive Grill is there, which is very popular, and some other businesses. And so I think deny this and actually try to purchase the other property outright. So, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. We actually don't approve or deny, so,
It's just a public hearing.
yep, it
And
is up to the
The
mayor.
mayor gets to decide.
So that block
I mean-
between 2 and 3, I'm just trying to figure out what the current zoning is on that block.
The town center?
No, it's commercial
Is it
and
just called?
mixed use, and it's kind of a hodgepodge.
Yep, it is a
Oh, we've got
hodgepodge.
public comment.
Public right.
Stop chit-chatting.
Gail Hansen, Logan, could we do a combination and give that entity one of the sides and then keep access? I don't know what the map looks like. And to negotiate the price based on just half that offering? I don't know. It occurred to me.
Thank you, Gail. Is there anyone else? We'll close the public hearing. Mayor, you have some thoughts.
Thank you.
So, to work from. We'll move now to our one workshop item, and we will let our new library director come to the podium.
Thank you very much. I will be brief.
Logan Library has a series of fines and fees, and in anticipation of opening up our makerspace to public use in a couple of weeks, we realized that fees list did not include items that we would be selling at the makerspace, mainly filament and just supplies that we would be selling mostly at cost. In that, we also realized that our meeting room fee schedule was not actually on this list, so we've kind of simplified that. We haven't made any changes there. And then because I do what I do, I decided to read the whole rest of the document and just make a whole bunch of editorial changes, mainly focused on cleaning up some language, removing some redundancies, and just removing some unneeded items on the list. That is it.
I like doing overdue library items instead of
Each item
and books and music.
at the same price.
Yeah, the one that caught me was the 10 cents and 25 cents per copy, and it's actually per page. It's mostly language changes. Any questions?
Not
Any questions?
fees, but when is the makerspace going to be limited?
We're getting for early July. So we're this close. This is part of it.
One quick question.
Yes.
And I probably can find this if I read more in depth, but the meeting rooms, they have a fee on them, but they are
For commercial use.
for
Yes,
commercial
yes.
use. For nonprofit and community use, they're still free.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, technically at the moment, we have kind of a community, nonprofit, and commercial three-tiered. We're just reducing it to two.
Okay.
So that it's either community
If you're making
and
money,
and
so are we.
nonprofit.
If you're not,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, that was my only major question.
I remember talking about that too.
Anybody else?
Come on, pepper them with questions. It's his first meeting.
You crossed out where it says by the board of directors. It's no longer approved by them.
Yeah, our library board is okay with this, although they haven't approved it yet. That'll be in our next two meetings.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, even if I try.
Oh,
What's your favorite flavor of Aggie ice cream in the 6 months you've lived here?
I thought you wanted the meeting to end early.
We are still going to get there. 7:10, we can do that and talk ice cream.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Your favorite flavor of Aggie ice cream since you've moved to
I
Logan?
haven't been there yet.
Get out.
Okay, but there's an event coming up this weekend, so.
That's
Yep.
Gonna have to sample.
be careful, however, because they have a lot of flavors that have really weird names anymore, and they don't mean anything.
They're delicious.
University of Nebraska, Lincoln's ice cream store made a sweet corn ice cream one year. So I mean, if you talk
Corn
weird
flavored, yeah.
I do not recommend the birthday cake. It's really sweet.
The birthday cake.
And there's
Space degree.
There's Aggie space debris. Yeah, Aggie space debris. All right. How are you supposed to know what's in there?
Huckleberry and chocolate.
Awesome.
Why would you think that?
Because it's in there. It says space degree. I'm sorry. We'll go get some
Okay,
afterwards.
all right. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Are there other considerations?
I have
Mike has one.
2.
At least.
Mike has one. Jeannie and Mike have talked about one. I have 2 really quick. We'll do yours second. Are we still on track for July 15th? Solar feasibility, is that still
Yes.
looking good? Okay.
Yes.
I just know this is our last time we'll meet before then. And I just want to make sure that we were still looking good to be able to discuss that in July. And that will hopefully be on the agenda in July.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That was my quick question.
Your one question.
What's that, Mark?
Your one question.
Well, my one of 2. My other question is, both Jeannie and I have had numerous texts from people on 500 North using the bike lane.
As a parking lot.
And that people keep parking in it, particularly on Sunday mornings outside the church. And I know Chief Simmons and I have talked about this briefly a couple weeks ago, and I know the problem is continued, particularly on Sundays, but even, was it you that said that this morning there was more people parked in it?
There were more people parked in it this morning.
And I just feel like if we're gonna spend the money and the investment and the time, I know it's your position, but I would like to see more enforcement on it.
Have we been issuing warning tickets yet? I mean, I know there have been conversations.
I know it's been talked about.
We put out signage here, Paul put out some signage to remind people, especially on Sunday mornings. it's difficult to station somebody there.
Sure.
But we're certainly doing our best.
And I think normally you don't have parking enforcement working on Sundays.
So I'm going to
Would
say.
it make sense
but-
to put a sawhorse at the entrances? Because now it's like the do not enter sign, it's just to like
But then the
make
bikes
it so
can't get
you,
in either.
no, they could get on either side of the sawhorse if it was like right in the middle because
They park in a line. They have to go in and park in a line, and they can't leave except in order.
Church gets out at 11, they gotta just leave together.
And they're parking in the bike lane. My son takes pictures of it every single Sunday, and he's like, there's
I've had
7
numerous
there
people text
today.
I'll talk to Public Works about maybe putting some kind of a barricade for Sunday, and then maybe we can also talk about just some warning tickets for like a couple
I have asked the
more.
officers to stop by there on Sunday mornings, when they're not out on other calls,
Right.
to move people along, or at least.
Somebody
It'd be
could
nice
just
if we could
call
leave
the
them
bishop
warnings.
and tell him to announce
talk
it
to the
in
bishop.
church.
I can go visit.
Nobody
them.
listens to the bishop.
Yeah, nobody listens.
Send the state president.
I just am,
Is that from firsthand
I am
experience?
dumbstruck by the fact that we have spent all this money and we have a dedicated bike lane in Logan that you can't use on Sunday. And
Isn't
I
that
just,
ironic?
I just think, I mean, it's against state law to park in a bike lane.
We need a little more education, don't we? Yeah.
We need a big fine.
Well,
Well,
a warning
try to
post.
educate.
I like the education idea. I like the education.
But there are no
Well,
parking signs. It's not painted red, but there are signs like every 15 feet that say no parking.
But if you see a red curve, you know you're not supposed to paint.
But again, a lot of our other
But
parking
see-
signs, it's like
But see,
weekends
for
and Sundays.
years, there's a red curb there, and it said no parking except Sundays.
Oh, in front of that area.
And then they swap the signs to just say no parking. So
Right.
people
But
can-
nobody reads
Yeah,
them.
you
I
got
know,
some
it's.
habitual,
it's
you have some habitual parkers there.
Well,
And I think they're probably just not reading the sign.
Yeah, just habitual.
And I know Chief
But it
Simmons'
takes a
staff is
lot of effort to park
busy,
in the
but
bike lane. I mean, you've got to be like, you've got to go in and you can't.
Jeannie, not everyone drives a little tiny Golf. These guys just drive their Jeep over it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or
just
maybe
drive-
they
just
start all
drive
the
right
way
over
from
it.
the beginning of the intersection.
I know,
just
and they
drive
drive all the way.
And we-
Wouldn't you
we did-
think
maybe
after
we need to
a
do a
little
video
while that was the wrong thing to do?
I just think, I know they're
They're trying to
busy,
make
but
a statement.
We could just send out and like just put a warning on each window. I'm pretty sure that like the word will get around quickly if you're like get a warning ticket.
Well, you're assuming we have done that. I'll check on that, and make sure.
Okay, and I shouldn't assume, but I got more text on Sunday. You know what assuming does.
Okay.
I do have other consideration.
Oh, so does Ernesto. Go ahead.
It's about Pioneer Day and whether or not we're doing the fire truck or anything with the Pioneer Day parade this year, or is that off of our calendars?
Oh, just riding on the truck normally?
Because we've done that for the last several Pioneer Day parades, and
I will do it only if you all wear your polos with me.
I just putting it out there
Always
while
look
we're
at
all
it.
together.
We should
On
ask
TV.
Chief if he'd be willing to provide the antique fire truck for us.
My son has already asked if we're going to be in the parade this year, so I would love to be there with him.
Okay. So it sounds like, assuming it's, I mean, it again, sometimes has some operational issues. And I guess we should check with Rusakina because we've been thinking about changing the time to 10 a.m. rather than noon.
So it's cooler?
So it's cooler, but again, the reason they originally did that is because other jurisdictions sometimes had earlier parades, and we do serve North Logan. So
They could do noon.
why don't you double check and see if North Logan's parade is still at 10, and then we can check with Rusakina and see what time the Logan parade will be scheduled. I mean, we have different apparatus too that we could provide, so.
And also, while we're at it, can we just schedule 2026's parade at 10 a.m. and beat them to it?
Well, I told
Then ours is scheduled.
I told them last year that it needed to change to 10. It's been so hot lately, you just worry
been
about
horrible.
people in the parade and,
Well, and that vehicle has trouble doing two parades.
yeah, the antique.
It overheated last year and we went to Maverick, threw buckets of water on it.
It's an old beauty, you know.
It's so much fun though.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Ernesto?
I just wanted to ask Mayor and maybe Police Chief if there's an update at all on any efforts to, I don't know, get staff a little more informed on what to do in case immigration showed up to like the library, which is a public space, or the rec center, places like that that belong to the city. And I just wondered if staff already know what they can do, what they shouldn't do, in case ICE showed up at the door.
I mean, we can maybe respond. I mean, I know chiefs responded in the past to emails. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we can bar them from that. I mean,
Yeah.
they have federal authority to do what they need to do. I don't anticipate that that's going to be the case. I've spoken to ICE Supervisor Todd Dewey. They have come up here on a couple of occasions looking for specific individuals who have criminal and pose a danger to the community. So, but predominantly they're working in the south end. They would let me know if they were going to do any major operations, and they know, and they agree with our stance that we are not going to enforce immigration. We're busy enough doing bike lanes and all the other stuff that we have to do, right? So they know that, and they agree with that. So, but they assured me that they'd let me know if they were going to come up and do some major raid, but they neither have the personnel, the time, or the space to even conduct anything like that in the city. So, but they are getting targeted people that have criminal warrants or have posed danger to the community.
I would just kind of encourage Mayor, encourage the administration to, I don't know, just maybe discuss it a little bit, especially with the library and the rec center. What are the things that they can do or not do, just in case? I mean, I agree with you. It's unlikely that will happen, but some of the things that are happening were unlikely that they would happen.
Yeah, we thought they were very unlikely.
And I am concerned that those things could happen here.
I mean, they're a law enforcement official. I think we just follow their directions. I mean, isn't that the law, is you follow the legal command of a law enforcement officer?
But I think that it's important as well. I mean, we just had the library director here. Have those people who are manning and operating those facilities, do they have any education as to how their response should be?
Now, that's a good point, and we'll put that on our next executive committee
'Cause I think
agenda for
that-
Tuesday and discuss
I think that,
Yeah.
you know, that's a critically important piece of the whole thing.
We did bring it up at the library board meeting, so I can find out if Michael's done training, but that it did come up in a library board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ernesto.
If there's no other, any considerations, we will adjourn as Logan City Council, and we will reconvene as the redevelopment agency. We have a public hearing for a consideration of the proposed resolution approving the final redevelopment agency budget for fiscal year 25-26. Kurt, would you like to come forward, please? And just go through it with us. We've heard from Rich a lot today. We'll let you do it.
Sure. Okay, so for this year, fiscal year 2026, the RDA budget, pretty straightforward. On the revenue side, we're projecting $377,000 offset by the expense side equally, $377,000. So no surprises, no unusual items in there, so pretty straightforward. But I'm happy to.
Do we still have properties outstanding that we are working on selling?
Sorry, property?
Yeah, do we have properties outstanding?
Properties outstanding, we do have two. That's a good point.
Okay.
300 North Main, the northwest corner of that intersection. We have some acreage over there, roughly just shy of 2 acres. And then we have a portion of RDA funds that were used to acquire the land that's at 3rd South, 1st East,
Right.
on the southwest corner of that intersection. So those are the two.
Okay. And one other question I had was, there are some funds that have been promised but not delivered yet, so we're still holding those, correct?
Oh, under a development agreement? Yes. In the
Okay.
South Main CRPA we have just what you said, funds that have been earned essentially under
Well,
the
committed,
development.
I would say more like.
Committed, that's a better word, thank you. But not released yet because there's still some requirements pending.
Like they haven't built the place. I'm thinking of the
Well,
housing
it-
unit behind
yeah, I mean,
Adams Walk.
Really, it's the trail that needs to be built along the river.
Well, wasn't a piece of that for the housing as well?
The housing was part of their project, but because they didn't build it by a certain date, the cap on the total incentive amount was automatically reduced, which has happened. So they're not technically required to build the housing. If they don't, the incentive amount obviously decreases, but they're not eligible at this point for any increment on the entire project. Those funds can't be released until the trail
Is done to the
completed.
specification.
And they've completed a segment of it from Main Street to 100 West, but along the housing portion of their project, which they, talked about doing, the trail also has to be completed along the river in that segment.
Okay.
And then the connections up to 100 West, we've got to make sure that we have easements for those connections so that there's true public access throughout. So.
Okay.
But Jeannie, when the housing component was permitted, wasn't the trail required as part of their conditional use
Yes.
permit? So at some point, if they build that project, it will come.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
it's too bad we didn't condition it as part of the other project, just so it'd get done. But anyway.
Well, again, they
okay.
essentially lost the incentive.
And I don't know, that was a long time ago that project was approved. It was well over a year ago.
So maybe the entitlements have expired.
Yeah, I don't know. So, okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak to this issue, please come forward, state your name, take 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one, bring it back to the council for a decision.
To the RDA for decision.
Yeah. I'll move approval
Sorry.
of
That's all right. Just
To the
resolution.
RDA.
I'll move approval of resolution 25-28 RDA.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned as RDA.